Congratulations, MovieMan! You have won the right to review this upcoming film. Ready to win it big, everybody. Ready to win it big. We're going to review this movie. Big views, big views. Come on, here we go. All right, ready? Big views, no whammies. Big views, several thousand, and stop. 34 again.
I know you from somewhere. Not America's Most Wanted, right?
You think that he's working alone?
I have no idea. All part of the game, right?
You just made more than anyone in the history of game shows.
Luck is just a good excuse to do nothing and then hope that an opportunity comes a-knocking.
And today we have The Luckiest Man in America. If you don't know what The Luckiest Man in America is about, it's literally based on a true story, but of course, and they preface the film by saying as much, it's heavily dramatized in order to make it a appealing and entertaining film for the general public. Names have been changed, probably some facts in the case have been altered. So really, if you really dig into it, the base story here definitely has been altered for the sake of dramatic purposes. Before we get rolling super hard into this review, I wanted to go ahead and apologize for the lack of overall movie reviews lately. Honestly, it's my fault. Between so many movies I'm watching, falling behind, a lot of focus on my channel being about the reaction series these days, I've been really finicky about the setup, and I think I'm finally in a spot that I like. We'll see what the future holds, but I promise I want to get back into doing more regular movie reviews for all the films. I was very surprised because I went to go see this movie and I loved it. I really enjoyed it. I don't really think I have anything negative to say about it. However, I go online and then the reviews aren't that positive for this film. For those that don't know, Luckiest Man in America is the second feature film by director Samir Oliveros, whose previous film in 2017, Bad Lucky Goat, I've never heard of. But this is his second feature film, has more backing by, I think, 5 or 6 different studios? Not as many as Late Night with the Devil, but still, it's a lot of studios, namely and mainly being the IFC. So it is an indie film, technically, but it's getting national distribution, not just in my local art house cinema, but I saw this at a Regal. The main star is, you'll recognize his face, probably, if Paul Walter Hauser. You know when someone's around but you don't clock them to a certain TV show or movie? For me in particular, I first clocked him via his role in I, Tonya, which, not a main character, but one of the primary ones. He's had a starring, leading role before, a la Richard Jewell, and there's literally the who's who in terms of who's in this film. Dude, Walton Goggins, you know who he is. Shawnette Renee Wilson, you may not know, but she was recently in Dial of Destiny, which I reviewed. We even have Shamir Anderson. Why did he look so familiar to me in this film? Dude was in John Wick Chapter 4. I think he was, what was he, Tracker was his name? Patty Harrison, fun little trivia fact here, she's in several episodes of I Think You Should Leave. We have Damian Yun, who this guy is one of those words, I never remember his name. You know him from anything, Ozark, or House of Cards for sure. I almost thought it was Elsie Fisher for a second, but seeing Maisie Williams in this reminds me, man, she's, ever since Game of Thrones, she's been in very little. A lot of Game of Thrones stars have gone on to do some stuff, which, to be fair, after all the money they made from that show, I don't blame them. I haven't reviewed her in a film since the New Mutants back in 2020, and technically, she was in a movie that same year called The Owners, which I never even heard about. Luckiest Man in America is about a real-life Michael Larson, who back in 1984, he went to compete on this show called Press Your Luck, which actually existed, and you can find clips of it from back in the day. He lies about who he is, trying to get on the show, and they don't take him on at first until one of the network producers, the executives, is like, hang on a second, yeah, he lied, but this guy is that right brand of crazy and weird that'll make it for good TV. Let's get him on here. Starts competing on the show, does okay at first. Suddenly, he's on a roll.
Stop! Stop at $1,000 in a spin. $4,000 in a spin. Stop! Stop at $5,000.
Dominates. It's like a panel of 3, and he's just going, and it's not stopping. And everybody in the network starts freaking out.
They knew something was wrong, and something was off.
They just didn't know what, and there was no way to stop it.
Because he breaks the record for previous highest win, and it keeps going. Do I spoil it? I don't know. I'm tied, right? Because it's based off a true story, so if you Google, you already know. But if you've never heard about this movie, it might ruin the experience. I'll put it at this. The movie poses the question, who's backing him, basically. Even on the poster, it's like, who's behind this guy? And you're wondering, okay, well, how does he know when to hit it? Is he being instructed? Does he have is he wearing a wire? Is somebody telling him how to do it, when to do it, etc.? And that's the premise for the film, right? Is the executives trying to figure out who this guy is, and then we're watching this play out and seeing, is this guy good, bad, he's winning, is it good he's winning? Skip ahead 10 seconds if you don't want to know this part. The real life story is he memorized the patterns because the the producers of the show and their infinite wisdom only programmed 5 different patterns into the show. So literally he spent all of his time recording the show on VHS, rewinding, going through the episodes, and basically committed all 5 light patterns to heart, how and when specifically to press the button, which in my not so humble opinion is not cheating. You just figured out the game, and now you're gaming the system. I don't think it's cheating at all. My initial gut reaction, unbiased and unaffected by outside opinions, I loved this movie. I don't really think it did anything wrong. I think with the premise that it had, it kept me intrigued from start to finish. I thought the performances were great, a varied cast that kept things fun and darkly entertaining. I think that, what's his name, Paul? I feel like he nailed the guy in his mannerisms and just kind of that social awkwardness, but also there's a lot of emotion to it under the surface, and I just think he plays that well in his body language and his responses and how he talks and such. I thought he killed it. I love the whole movie. I like this era of film that we keep seeing now. It sort of reminds me of Late Night with the Devil. That's kind of more late 70s, early 80s? It's that nostalgia time capsule into a time before I was even born. Films that are well made, showing kind of the parlance of the time, the visual aesthetic, the technology, the clothing and all that. It's just something about the aesthetic of these types of movies really does it for me. So I think they nailed that. And yeah, all the performances are entertaining. There's some surprise cameos. Hell, look, I mean, it's in the credits, but damn, Johnny Knoxville shows up in this film at one point. It's a simple premise, and it's not that long of a movie, but made this into a fleshed out story with a mystery at its core, and you're wondering, this seems to be our protagonist, but should we even be rooting for him? I don't know. I feel like I had more to say about the people that are in this film than I do about the film itself. I really have no notes, and maybe I'm just in this positive headspace right now. I'm in a good mindset. I don't know, but I can't recommend it enough. If you get a chance to go see it in theaters, I'd say it's a good time. If this sounds like something you'd be down for, I could do nothing but recommend this film. Is it an Oscar-winning film? Perhaps not. Does it revolutionize storytelling or provide us with something we've never seen before? Not particularly, but it accomplishes what it set out to do. It does it very well. It's entertaining, it's funny, it's good. I like the pacing, the direction, lighting used throughout the film. There's several moments where the pulsing light of the game show and the music and all that really creates tension in a scene, combined with Paul's performance. I think it's entertaining. I really liked it. Look, if you don't want to find out what happened to Michael Larson in real life, I'll leave it at this. Not knowing him or what his story was about made it for a very interesting and engaging watch, because then I didn't know how it was going to end. Go in blind if you can. This might be a hot take, but I give The Luckiest Man in America a 5 out of 5. I give it a 5 out of 5. I have no qualms with this film. Sure, I might be changing up my rating system and how that all works. I want to kind of do it all through a more positive lens and maybe even get away from scoring, but scoring is so fundamental of being a film critic that I may just have to stick with that. So you just might hear me do more positive movie reviews. I don't know. I'm going off of Wikipedia for this because me and my friends, we researched who this guy was afterwards to find out. He does win, by the way. They let him do it because yeah, he didn't cheat. He just literally figured out the game. After the network paid, Larson moved on to other endeavors, but in 1995, he fled a law enforcement investigation of a fraudulent multi-level marketing scheme and died in hiding in 1999 in Apopka, Florida. He reminds me of a less dramatic version of Howie from Uncut Gems, but he really could have and should have rested on his laurels. But when guys like that, you know, press your luck, you get that kind of gambler's fallacy, you get in too deep, you keep on going, and then you don't know when to stop. And yeah, he ended up getting in even deeper, got in trouble with the authorities, and just died in obscurity, in hiding. And now a movie's being made about him, not to glorify him, but just to kind of tell his story because it makes for a good movie. That's all I gotta say about the movie today. Thank you guys and gals so much for watching. Thank you for your patience as I eventually work my way to trying to get more of these out there into the world at large. Have a good night, and as always, goodbye, travelers.